Welcome to the Whitetail Legacy Podcast.
Tomorrow is opening day.
This morning, didn't have a great hunt. Deer didn't move like usual.
We just got set up in the middle of this bedding thicket. We've been saving this spot from the rut.
It's a nice, I think it's a nice buck.
Boom! Hits a 170.
That was money. I think it's down right over there, maybe 10 yards.
Whitetail Legacy Podcast, bringing you back to the hunt and leaving a legacy.
Baller rut.
Welcome to the Whitetail Legacy Podcast. As we all probably know by now, Cody's been putting in some work, so I figured I'd lighten the load and kick this one off here. Episode 54, going to be a good one, I hope.
Yeah, it's going to be solid. It's going to be way better than the weather outside.
Right.
So if you're in the Midwest, or I don't know, and yeah, we got 13 inches of snow here. I don't know what Galesburg got, probably close to that.
Yeah, 13.
Man, it's freaking ridiculous. They got us working nonstop. This will be the earliest release podcast we've ever done.
Right.
We're recording it like hours before we release it. So it'll be fresh. This will be fresh. You guys won't have to listen to the 4 week ago podcast.
Right.
So,
kicking off here, before we get too far into anything, dude, I was listening to them Steve Stoltz episodes.
yeah.
Those are sick.
Yeah, those are good.
He's-
Steve Stoltz has got so much knowledge. If you guys haven't had a chance to listen to those, go back, check them out. We even covered real late season calling.
Yeah.
You know, so.
And then we hit you with the listener episode, and Mark's got 2 bucks down as of now. He's trying to hone in on.
And then how many has he helped for friends? 6?
Oh yeah, he's
6
got
now?
all kinds of people on
a couple
on
bears.
big bucks. Yep.
Yeah, that guy's.
4, I think 4 or 5 bears.
Yeah, that guy's solid, man.
4 or 5 out of 6 people, 6 or 7 people. So high success rate there.
Yeah.
And then Aaron, he got a buck down since we talked to him. So just wanted to recap that there.
Nice public ground buck. Solid.
Yeah.
So, what's the word on your brother? You going to go late
I
season
mean,
with him?
I should take him out right now.
Yeah, you should take him out right now and be like, dude, it's beautiful.
Yeah. Like, dude, it's
The
going to be
weather's
prime.
actually not that bad. The wind ain't bad.
No,
It's sunny.
Yeah.
It's probably like high 20s, which is pretty nice.
Right.
Like, it's a perfect night to go hunting. But
Right after a storm, like, they weren't
Yeah.
moving much.
there was a fawn that I seen today at work, the smallest fawn I've ever seen this late in the year, and it was just standing, like, had no idea what to do. It was in belly deep snow.
Dang.
It's the smallest fawn it barely had spots.
I see.
No mom with it. So I was like, man, that thing, I could have chased it down. That's how bad it's snowing right now.
Yeah.
So they're desperate.
So getting into it here, we are presented by Veteran Innovative Products.
It's the VIP Veteran Innovative Products is the title sponsor of this podcast. Let's give the VIP the shout out for putting down your buck. We'll continue the story, but it did its job there.
Yep.
And then the endless amount of deer that's on social media right now is just insane. That's that the deer's putting, or the veterans putting down. So a lot of bucks, man. It's been putting down a lot of bucks this year. So
A lot of bucks.
his highlight reel this year is going to be pretty good.
Yeah.
I haven't made it yet, so I got to work on that. But
This week's VIP Veteran Broadhead shout-out is Jay Fouts. Jay is an Air Force veteran, and that's all we got as far as information from him. So, Jay, we appreciate your service in the Air Force, and glad you made it all safe, man.
yeah, thanks, Jay. Appreciate you. Air Force, any job there, I think is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I mean, even if you're like fueling helicopters, that's a pretty badass job. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, thank you from Whitetail Legacy Podcast crew, family, and the VIP family, and Cindy and Matt. All right, let's get into ECW calls. So we will release the Mr. Freeze podcast the week after this. I'm sure there's a ton of people. I already got messages like, when is it going to go? When is it going to go? But we got to go in order, and we want to share your story, your buck, before mine. And we're working in with kids, so we like to release one a week.
Right.
So you guys are just going to have to set on the back burner. But with the ECW call, I did hit 2 grunts right before Mr. Freeze did come in. I was actually grunting at another buck. I don't want to ruin the story, but I don't know if I called him in or if he was just working that way, but he was definitely nose down when he crossed the fence. So
Either way, that ECW call at least didn't spook him off.
Either way, yeah, he was within 80 yards when I blew it. Had to be. So I want to think that he came over to investigate from that, but I don't know. So I can't 100% say, but it did its job. It made that other buck interested enough to stay around for a while, and then maybe pulled in almost a 200-inch deer.
Right.
So we're on the fence of the 200 right now. We don't know.
Good volume out of that, and
Yeah.
good sound. Let's get into Ingram here, man.
Yeah. Oh God.
I just want to get into like.
It's funny how the last episodes we were like, oh, we got a buck there for sure.
Right.
And now we have 2 deer there, and then your brother-in-law took a deer there, and he's just getting swamped.
I
man.
know. I would say I just wanted to hit on a couple of deer that were in his rack pile.
Yeah.
He's got a triple main beam buck there.
Yeah.
And then he's got just a massive.
That 10.
It's not palmated, but it just
It's
looks
heavy.
like baseball bat, like a
Yeah.
wooden baseball bat.
It's a clean, like almost 170 10 point
Yeah.
with not a lot of time.
No.
You know what I mean? So
No.
just like probably 24, 25-inch beams and
I mean
just
they're
solid
just
mass.
round.
Yeah.
So I was pretty impressed with that.
And he's got that super clean 8. That's probably in the 160s.
Oh yeah,
Just a clean 8 with giant brows.
giant brows.
So yeah, that was a sick buck.
So a lot of people trust in Ingram to bring their mount back to life.
Yeah, he said he got 14 for a shotgun season. And then he said the 13th was off the chain. November 13th was off the chain for people bringing in bucks and people
That's the day I shot mine.
And his trail cam. So and his buddy's trail cam were off the chain. And that's when Mr. Freeze showed up, was on the 13th. And G2 buck
That
night.
night.
Yeah. And then I talked about that like in a past episode. I was like, I think it would be cool because he writes all that down. If we could get him on and just be like, November 13th, $5 came in,
right?
And then like we're like, well, what was different on November 13th? Was it a weekend? There's a lot of people hunting, or was the weather really good, or something like that? I think that would be a kind of a cool podcast to see why were the deer moving, why were the big deer moving that that day to be able to that many people be successful,
Yep.
So
Getting into scentlock.
we got a bunch of stuff to cover for scentlock, but I just want to say that I'm blown away by that tactic suit. How, like, I know it says mid-season.
Mm-hmm.
I know I'm layering underneath of it, but for it to be able to hold that moisture off when it was snowing real hard on us that day,
Yeah.
and then just holding the wind off. I mean, like, the only thing that ever gets cold on me is my toes.
Right. Yeah.
So, and scentlock doesn't have anything for that. Socks, but that's it. So.
I would say they say that mid-season suit is good for 40 to 60 degrees, and I was wearing it early season with just Under Armour base on it, and I was perfectly fine.
Yeah.
So.
And I like it. Like I got the large, and it still has enough room for you like to get stuff underneath of it, but it's not like one of those jackets that you wear that's so bulky that you can't get your safety harness like on and be comfortable.
Yeah.
Because that's one thing. Like I kept telling Homey, I'm like, when it's cold, you need to like stand up and draw and like make sure you're still fluid because you sat there for a while. And I always feel fluid in that jacket even when I wore like a heavy, like a timber fleece, didn't feel like, I don't know if the jacket has like stretch to it, like the material has stretch to it, or if it's just a lighter outer
I think it has a
garment.
little bit because the inside of the jacket's kind of a mesh.
I think it has some stretch to it that helps.
So definitely check out their gear. Their gear is top of the line.
Yep.
So on this episode, we have the heater blaring, by the way. On this episode, we're just going to kind of recap our first part of November rutcations. Somebody had a baby. So we're just going to kind of run through that and get everybody up to date. So I started my rutcation November 1st. got off work, decent time, and Cody and I both went and hunted his lease, and I had a doe come in about 33 yards, but she needed 4 steps, and then I'd have been able to get her in the shooting lane, and she just kind of worked off the opposite way and never gave me a shot. Do you remember what you seen that night?
Nothing.
Didn't see nothing.
Didn't see a deer. Remember I told you that.
Oh, you did an all day sit.
Yeah, all day sit and seen nothing in the evening.
Right.
Oh no, that was the first. Yeah. I seen a shooter on the first.
Yeah.
Come off of the neighbors.
Because I was gonna come join you, but then I was like, I don't want to. There's something close.
I seen a shooter on the north come off the neighbors. Seen a ton of does in the morning.
And nothing in the evening.
Probably like 12 does in the morning. I passed a decent 8-pointer, and God, dude, it's crazy. I grunted at him, and he went directly downwind. Like, didn't even play around. Like, ran out 80 yards, circled in 20 yards, directly downwind, licking his nose, the whole 9 yards. I'm like, man, this deer is going to bust me. But I think since I'm on that ridge and he was lower, I was blowing over him, or the scent lock was really doing its job. But like I told you, I feel like when you have so many layers on, because I wear an early season scent lock suit and a mid-season scent lock suit, and then plus a bunch of layers underneath that, right. And then I'm ozone and everything. So I don't know. I still don't think. I think it gives you more time on the deer. I don't think you can 100%.
Clear everything.
Yeah, clear everything because of my backpack, all my camera gear, stuff that I wasn't running.
Yeah.
But yeah, cleared it. Had a doe come in, skyline me. She was there for a long time. Just like Steve was saying, like you feel like a deer blowing could ruin your hunt. Mm-hmm. I bet you she blew 15 times, like just blow, and then she just hung out there, like she couldn't figure out what I was. She just seen something, and then she didn't take off. She just hung out for like ever feeding.
Jeez.
After she's blowing, and then that buck came in maybe 30 minutes after that. But it was the craziest thing. I had all them does, and not one buck fall on any trail behind them. But that's a whole nother topic. We talk about this rut. It's just it was the worst I've ever seen.
Yeah.
For big deer activity, like the 2.5 and 3.5 year olds were all over. They were all over, but the big deer just. Even the trail cams, man. The trail cams were just nocturnal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean they're lighting up the scrapes.
Yeah, lighting up the scrapes. I mean,
but just not daylighting at all, or even interested in anything.
No, the only one we had daylight was G2 on the 3rd when it was like 40 and pouring down rain.
Yeah,
like it must just went to freshen that scrape up that morning when it was raining.
So we get done hunting, get back to the truck, we leave. And I get a flat tire. Literally just started my rutcation, and I started off with a deer that I couldn't shoot because it didn't come into the shooting lane, and then I get a flat tire. So got that changed, and then did you work Friday? I think you did.
I think I did.
Yeah, because I didn't hunt. Wife said we got a bunch of stuff to do. We had a C-section scheduled for the 4th.
What was the date on that?
The 2nd.
Second? No, I worked, yeah.
Yeah. So I had to choose between hunting Friday or hunting Saturday, which I chose Saturday because we're going to have to get up early to get to the hospital on Sunday. So I was like, oh, well, if I get up early to go hunting on Saturday, it'll feel like I'm sleeping in on Sunday, kind of be a head start on getting up with the baby and everything. So Friday, I did all my dad's stuff, got last couple things rounded up. And then Saturday, I went hunting, and I went to the Burlington piece and sat in the buck nest. I was just walking in that morning, and I could just feel it was going to be good. And had two does come in on me, and they bedded downwind at like 28 yards. Bedded. I'm like, oh, man. I mean, good. Just a doe and a yearling.
Were they in that little draw?
Yeah.
Do you think you were blowing over them, or do you think?
So I had a perfect wind, which is not usually the case when I hunt there, and they were on that hillside of that draw that I was blowing down into, where no deer usually are. So then my wife starts texting me, "Oh, I'm kind of going into labor. I'm going to call a doctor." I'm like, "Okay, let me know." Doctor's like, "You can wait it out or you can come in now." I'm like, "All right, so we're waiting it out, right? You know, I got deer right here." And she's like, "No, we're going." I was like, "Oh, I mean, I still got to drive all the way back here, get all the stuff packed up." I literally put my camera away and getting ready to like unstrap my safety harness from the tree, and then I hear like a deer jump up from the trail up to the ridge at 20 yards. And so I look, and it's a buck, and it's a pretty decent buck, and he's looking right at me. I'm facing the tree, trying to grab my bow, cross my body, and bring the bow between me and the tree and turn around at the same time. And then he starts walking down the trail right into my shooting window. I come to full draw, and I was like, it's not a giant. I mean, if it was a giant, I'm sending it. But on a solid, probably 3.5-year-old, I think 9-pointer is what he was. Didn't get a super good look at him, but I was like, man, I cannot, it's not worth doing all this or having you telling you, hey, I shot this deer here. You're going to have to track it for me. I'll go to the hospital.
You're going to the hospital.
Right.
Yeah, I'd have been there. Yeah.
So I did come to full draw on the buck, but decided.
You fake kill him?
Yeah. That's pretty much what I did.
Yeah.
So get home. We go to the hospital. We had the baby on Saturday at 1:52, 1:58 in the afternoon. Healthy boy. And then I was pretty much out of commission until Wednesday. We come home from the hospital Tuesday. Wednesday, got settled in, had a baby appointment with our personal doctor. Thursday, you took 3 days off, or them 2 days, and we hunted up at the north corner. And we had
that one
decent
130 maybe. What do you think? High 125.
125.
I mean, he was a decent 8. I told Homey, I said, you can shoot him if you want. I'm passing.
Right.
But we'd decided to pass on that deer. Had does feeding in the field right by the road at like 11
Midday,
o'clock.
yeah.
I was like, what is going on?
And then they come in right by us.
Yeah, they came in right by us. And then we had that 2 small bucks cruising early in the morning.
Yep.
And that was it. The standing corn is what killed us this year. That's the only thing I could think of is I had like 300 acres of standing corn 80 yards from my best rut area. And literally the day that they picked that corn, my trail cam was just like doe, doe, doe. My mobile cam all day, does.
Because you said there's always been a lot of does
there's
on
always
the
been
property.
like 12, 15 does there. And this year there's like nothing.
Yeah,
There's
and
no
we're
does.
hunting, and we're running cams, and we're not getting very many does. I'm like, where are all these does
I think they're
at, man?
either in, I don't know if they're in the corn, but I feel like they were just hugging the very north side.
They were bedded right close to it.
In that grass right there. That little, remember I told you like that old road that's not a road anymore, that's all grown up? Mm-hmm. It's a perfect bedding spot, and they just popped that little hill and right there in the feed field. So I think they're right, a lot of them were hanging in that area and not using the bedding area. Because remember I told you what the does are going to do? No doe did that this year.
Right.
No doe, well, I take that back. A couple did when that small buck was bumping her that morning that we seen. Mm-hmm. Went right in there, but no, like 10 does doing the same thing.
Right.
You know, like all going in the same area. But
so then on Friday the 9th, I hunted the honey set.
Yeah, that was Friday.
And
no, that was
the morning.
That was Thursday. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because Friday I left.
Yeah, you hunted the morning though.
Oh yeah. You hunted the honey set in the morning?
I hunted the honey set in the morning.
I thought you went to the north.
No. That was the 8th.
Okay.
That might have been the 8th because I don't think I hunted that afternoon. There was one after.
No, yeah, 8th you didn't.
Yeah.
That's the day that I. Go ahead with yours, and then I'll
No.
on.
Yeah, I was going to move on to the 9th.
Yeah, so the 7th, I did an all day. Then the 8th, I did an all day.
Maybe I was a day ahead there. Maybe I hunted Yeah, we come home Monday because I was a day off.
Yeah.
So we come home Monday. Tuesday had a baby appointment. Wednesday we hunted together.
Wednesday I took
morning
Wednesday,
and
Thursday,
evening.
Friday, Monday off
I would
with
say,
the
I thought
weekend. So Wednesday I hunted all day. We hunted all day together.
Yep.
Thursday I hunted all day
Deep.
at the Deep Acorn stand, and then literally I hunted all day, right? And I seen 2 shooters at night, late, like right 10 minutes from last light.
Mm-hmm.
And literally my mobile cam is 5 yards from my tree stand. It was right where I shot my buck last year. And we've got a ton of buck pictures there.
Mm-hmm.
And they like to use it to go in this bedding area. And 10, 15 minutes after I'm out of the stand, just get to my truck, I get a picture of an 8 with like a 4-inch drop tine. That's probably mid 130s, 140. I'm like, man, I probably would have shot that if I was sitting there. Real heavy.
I mean, that stand's deep. I can't believe as the time
deep as
on
it is,
the camera
yeah.
how he missed you and you missed him. I mean, obviously you might not have seen him, but
Yeah.
he might have seen you or heard you.
I think that's one of the bucks I might have seen come out and then was circling back.
Yeah.
Went
Could
out
be.
and checked that bedding area where the does normally are, and then cut back in to go back out and hit that pinch where Mr. Freeze was at.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking.
So the 9th, I don't know where you hunted in the morning.
I hunted the back.
You hunted the
That's
back
where we
again?
moved the stand. No, I hunted the shotgun stand.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yep.
And then I seen 2 shooters that morning.
Yep. I hunted the honey set. Didn't see anything, and then
Which is insane to me because that buck that the neighbor shot was bedding right in there in the middle of the day, and the trail cam picture that's like the most unpatternable spot ever, and it's kind of in the center of a timber. But the sign, if you literally walk through there with no trail cam pics, you would be like, oh, you have to sit here every day of the rut.
yeah,
It's just insane.
and there was only the G2 buck daylighted on the 3rd, and that was all daylight.
That's the only daylight we got. Everything else is in the morning.
Other than does.
Yeah, going in small bucks, a couple small bucks.
Yeah.
But no shooters in the daylight there. The sign is just off the chain.
Right.
Like, I bet you there's 10 tree rubs and
It's the
10
back door of a little bedding thicket.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
every time I've sat there, I've had deer come out of
that bedding thicket. Yeah.
We had that fork come
Yeah.
out there. Literally 5 yards.
Yeah.
And then, Cody said he hunted the shotgun stand. We moved that stand because you seen them 2 shooters.
Yeah.
Moved it down across the creek, and you're like, dude, you got to sit here tonight. I'm like, man, we're down here making all this commotion.
That's the only stand that I seen any rut activity, like bumping,
Oh, yeah.
grunting, anything like that I seen. I had a really nice 8, probably one of the best 8s I seen all year, go through that bottom. And if I would have moved, if my stand would have been where we moved, it would have been 5-yard shot, 10-yard shot. Then I had a really nice, I can't really tell, 10 or,
Yeah.
I can't really tell. We got video
Shooter.
of it. I need to blow it up and look at it. Bumping a doe. I did everything at that buck. I grunted at him. I snort wheezed. I rattled. There's no way I could not pull him off that doe. He was, but he like kept looking over there, and he was just so slow. I think I got like 8 minutes of video of him. You know what I mean? And he's just going like 150 yards. But I hung that stand because last year I figured out they were using that pinch, but I wasn't 100% sure on where they were using it. Then
But you're still like that pinch is 140 yards from the stand.
yeah, but if they pinch on the other side of the creek, then they're right there.
Yeah.
There's their sign on the other side of the creek saying that they do that. But every time I've hunted there, I've only hunted there 4 times. Every time I've hunted there, I've seen a shooter buck, and I shot a buck there this year.
Yeah.
I've hunted there 4 times.
So, yeah, I was just saying this where the stand was at before we moved it was
Yeah, it's probably
120
120 yards from where the bucks were moving.
And then, that's why we moved the stand.
Yeah.
So we moved the stand. Just literally, you cannot put your arms around this tree. So it was brutal hanging.
Brutal.
My foot was pivoting on the step.
I was
it was just on the
underneath of this-
nerve.
I was underneath of it, holding it up. Luckily, we were tied off, or it would have been super dangerous. But I was underneath the stand, holding it with my head pretty much off the steps. And homie, it's in a giant cottonwood tree. So I was like, we got to be here, and this is the only tree big enough to get your whole back, where we know the deer are gonna be,
and still be able to play the
but
wind good.
that's crazy. Like what they say in the rut, we went in there, we moved a stand, across a creek.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was
Backed out.
10 in the morning. We cut all the shooting lanes.
Yep.
I mean, we cut a lot of shooting lanes.
Yeah.
And actually had a deer sniff the tree that we cut down. It's just insane. And, I mean, we made a lot of noise doing that.
So you were in there hunting. I walked in. We moved the stand. We walked out, got lunch, come back in.
Mm-hmm. You come back in.
I come back in.
Yeah, I went to Missouri.
Yeah.
I drove to Missouri that night.
So literally that night on November 9th, damn near had the hunt of my life.
Yeah.
Like 3 shooter bucks, 140s, 150 10, 150 class 10, all within 80 yards. Just hanging out up in this
fighting,
little
grunting.
thicket. Yeah.
I mean,
so Cody's like, we moved that stand, so the deer's probably going to go right in front of where the stand was. First deer I seen, 2.5-year-old, probably right at 128, and he just went about 30 yards right in front of where the stand was. I was like, oh, perfect. But then he ended up working both sides of that creek. He had eventually crossed, used that pinch on the other
he was
side
just
too.
trying to find a doe trail doe scent that
'cause
just pinched through there.
He didn't know where he wanted to go.
No, he was
like
just
I
looking.
got 12 minutes of footage
Yeah.
of him.
Yeah.
And he gets in front of me, 55 yards. I'm not going to shoot him. And he grunts 2 or 3 times. And then he's kind of, head bobbing up in that brush. And then there's a shooter 8, almost high 130s, 8.
I wonder if that's the same 8 I see him for shotgun.
It has to be because,
Tight, tall?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
probably
pretty
similar.
tall. So that 8 comes out of the brush, and that little buck didn't want nothing to do with him. And then that 8 goes up in the field. I see 2 deer just running in the field, a glimpse of them. Looked like smaller bodied, so I'm guessing it's going to be smaller bucks. Head was down and just smaller body. And then not even 5 minutes after that shooter 8 went up in the field, I just hear 2 deer just smash together. I'm like, oh, dude, it is getting good. And then...
Don't forget the spike buck.
Yeah. So I'm trying to do an interview, and here comes this monster spike buck. I mean, he is running.
7-pointer, isn't he? Or
Yeah.
6-pointer?
Right.
6-point, just kickers off spikes everywhere.
He's technically got like a drop because it comes off the backside. So he comes running in. I get the camera on him, and right where we cut that tree down, he literally sniffs
It's like 5 yards.
on that tree. I mean,
Yeah.
the tree's like 5 inches.
Yeah.
And just sniffs it, does like a couple circles, then just keeps on his way. So, and he come from where the other 2 smaller deer up in the field did, but he come through the timber
Yeah.
right at me.
That's where they normally come. Was to
Which
that
is where
pinch.
you seen one of the
Yeah.
shooters that morning was right there on that landing, 10 yards.
Yeah.
So he bumps off, then shooter 8's back, or a different 8, and then he's up there, and
I have a lot of 8s on that property. It's just so hard to like keep them straight because there's just like 5 128s. You're like, oh, it's an 8. I'm like, well, what one was it? I don't know. It was a freaking 8.
yeah. And this deer, I'm grunting at him, doe bleeding, and I know he can hear me because he just like kind of stops. But
It's too open there, man. That's what I was thinking when
he just loves. They're hugging that thick up there.
Yeah, that's when I was
that
thinking
corner.
that when I grunted at that first buck, he hung out there. But like he was just like, it's too open. Like I
Yeah.
could have shot him.
He's like, I should be able to see something down there. It's that
Yeah,
open. You know?
I could have shot him. He hung out long enough for me to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it didn't spook him. But he was just like, I can't see anything, so I'm not worried about it.
So this 8, I think it's a second 8, second shooter 8, is just standing there with his head down in the brush, and I've done a couple grunts. I've thrown out 2 doe bleats, and then he's just like frozen for 30 seconds, and I don't know what he's doing. He's not like trying to look at me.
You think there was does in that brush that you couldn't see?
I don't know. I don't know if them 2 deer that I heard fighting were. There had to be a hot doe somewhere.
Yeah. Well, there was a hot doe that morning because there was bucks bumping her.
I bet that's what that spike come in on.
Yeah.
And then out comes this 150 class 10 at least. So I'm on this 8, and then this 10 comes from the other property. They're not jumping the fence. The fence mess in right there at the field.
They're just corners.
Yeah.
Corners right there. And they're just edging around it.
Yeah, okay.
It's like the fence is too good.
Yeah.
It's like
looks like brand new fence.
They're like, I don't want to jump that. Because where all the deer come in is like where it's down. Like down there.
Yeah.
A ways.
Yeah, down
They
at the
just
flat.
Yeah, they just pop out there.
So this whole hunt was just so damn busy. All my raw footage, you could have pretty much act like you were just in the tree with me. Like my camera was just running constantly on deer, and this 8-pointer that's up there just picks his head up and is looking straight back where this deer's coming, and then kind of bumps down the hill towards me. I'm like, oh, well, he don't want nothing, or maybe he's the one up there fighting. Maybe them two were up there in the field fighting, and he just got his ass kicked. So now he's, like, all right, man, I'll give you your space now. And I'm not kidding you, as literally as this deer is walking into the frame, my fluid head is just losing pressure and goes down. And you can just see the tip of his left main beam on the film, and, I mean, it's a solid deer. He comes into that thicket there, and I thought he was working towards me.
Does it look like the 430 buck? About like that?
No, he was longer.
Yeah.
Longer, more mass.
The one that I seen there in first shotgun season was like him with, but longer tines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a 10.
I think it was a 10, but I couldn't tell, man.
So
it's one of those where you pull up, you're like, shooter.
Yeah.
Oh, he's gone.
Yeah, right? I would say this deer is definitely not an 8.
Yeah.
So Cody shoots Mr. Freeze, and then I'm
Runner up 10?
No.
Okay.
Not that tall.
Man, that buck go.
I don't know.
He's there September 27th, and he's like, yeah, I'm rolling out.
Right.
I'm hard horn with a bunch of does. I'm leaving.
So Cody shoots Mr. Freeze, and I'm like, dude, the way Mr. Freeze looks in person, I'm like, I don't know if this is him or not. Like, I really wish I'd have got better.
Have you looked at the footage again?
I have, and I don't think it is.
You don't think it is?
I don't think it is.
You can tell because his horns are so dark, man.
Yeah.
Like, he's got the darkest horns I've ever shot of a buck.
Right.
Like, homeboys are pretty dark, but
yeah,
not like that.
No.
We were talking about that when they get older and massy like that, just like that 10 at Ingram, it's just dark,
Yeah.
And just like that one that Chris shot this year, that massy 10, it's just dark horned. It's weird.
And then Mr. Freeze's tines are kind of, they got that off color up at the top of the tip of the tine.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, cool buck. So then I had a couple does come in really late, and I mean I was just covered up in deer, and we just hung that stand literally 4 hours from when I went in to hunt it, and there's deer all over. Didn't pay no attention to me. Had
some key factors that I think, in rut for one, for 2, midday move.
Yeah.
3, we moved it pretty fast.
Yeah.
4, there's snow on the ground. I think that helps it. I think that helps us a ton.
Was there snow on the ground?
Yeah. Because there's a ton of snow on the ground that morning.
Oh, yeah. Because I went to
I think that helps with,
Casey's.
dragging the noise and...
Right.
I mean, just... I don't know. It just seems like it helps.
Was that the morning you seen them 6 scrapes just come out of nowhere?
Yeah.
On that ridge? Okay.
Yeah.
So I had a really good hunt on the 9th, and then Cody went to Missouri.
Yeah, I went to Missouri. So I hunted all day set, then hunted till noon, about noon. Then hung a stand with Ryan. I said, you got to hunt here, bro. I said, if you shoot something, I'm going to be in Missouri. So so Ryan has, the best hunt ever. So I just, I'm hanging around outside the lease, where we park, okay, it's 5 o'clock. It's going to take me 6.5 hours to get down there. And I'm like, I'm going to just wait until he says you don't shoot anything before I go, just in case I got to drag one out. Because we've already been there. We know what it's like now. You want to shoot a nice buck back there.
Yeah, no does back there.
Not a very good doe spot. But
on that hunt that I had there, I didn't know if I needed to have my bow in my hand. I didn't know if I needed to have the camera, the grunt tube, the can. I mean, it was crazy hunt.
Yeah, starburst. I mean,
I was trying to get a starburst. That's how I seen the first deer. I was like, I had 3. I was like, I'll get 2 more, and then we'll get serious here. Turn around to get the snack bag. Pfft, buck coming in 200 yards away. I was like, jeez.
Yeah. But yeah, so I drove to Missouri after Homey said that he didn't shot anything. And then I get to Hannibal. I'm like, okay, I'm going to buy tags. It took me like an hour to get tags. The line was just like ridiculously long. And so I bought my tags. I got down there. It was like, I don't know. It was late. It was like midnight, going club 1 o'clock. And then we get up, and my grandpa's up early, bro, like way early.
Is he just jacked?
Oh, he's just super jacked. And my grandma comes in there, and she looks around the corner, and I'm like, wave my hand. She's like, get up, coffee's ready. I'm like, all right. So I get up.
You hunted 4 mornings in a row at this point.
Yeah.
And got 3 hours of sleep on the third
and
night.
all day sets and just brutalness. Plus hunting the evening before when I tried to rattle that bucket that I seen cruising. But anyways, go to Missouri. We get out to the blind like early. I'm like, man, this is the earliest I've ever been in the blind with my grandpa. I'm like, I don't even know what's going on.
On the day you could have used like extra 40 minutes of sleep.
Yeah. And it's just super frosty out. And my grandpa's like, he puts that crossbow wax on his zipper. His blind's like the quietest zipper ever. I'm ready for like, just ripping. It's just dead silent, and it's like whispers out there, and he can't hear anything anyway. So I figured like it's gonna be loud. So we're in the blind, and he's trying to talk to me, and he's talking about like this, I'm like, yeah. He's like, I can't hear you. I'm like, yeah. So he's like, write it on my phone. So I just wrote it on his phone. And then I told Dallas, I'm like, it's heavy frost. I said 7:30, we're going to see our first deer. And it was like 7:28. Here comes a doe. And I go, hey, Grandpa, there's a doe. And he goes, oh, where? And I go, it's right there. And he goes, oh, yeah, I see it. And then before I even know, he stood up, like ready to go. And he's like, you want it? I'm like, no, go ahead. And he shoots it, drops it. Got it on film, but we had the camera on the wrong side of the blind, so we had to shift, move over here. Freehanding too, and rifle, so I jolt when the gun goes off,
right.
But got it on cam, and my grandpa he thought it was pretty special. I can't wait to put that hunt together just so they can see it. You know what I mean? Killer food for my grandma, like unbelievable food. And then hunted hard, 2 hanging bangs, all day sit, 1 day. Just brutalness, The first day with the doe, we got the doe out, and then we cleaned it for him and, hung it up. And then we went out for that evening, and we hung a stand. And then the next day, hunted all day, and then that morning we had to leave early, so we left. And I drove all the way home. My wife was like, I really want to go Christmas shopping, so do you think you could take Monday off? I'm like, oh, yeah, super. I could take that off, no problem. I got home like 11 o'clock at night, 10 o'clock at night, so I'm like, yeah, I'll take that off. So I just hung out with my boys on Monday, and that was my rutcation, was a ton of hours in stand, 4 shooters total, and just dry, man. It's the worst rut I've ever had. Like, even for like seeing like no midday movement, like nothing.
No.
10 o'clock, no, after that, zip. No does, no small bucks cruising. I mean, you see 12 does in the middle of the rut on a day in the morning, and you got bucks there in the morning, you're like, dude, something's going to hit one of those doe trails. And you sit there all day, and not even like a, forked horn spike finds that trail, and it's like, oh.
I feel like we're kind of running through this a little fast, and it seems like we're having like an action-packed rutcation.
Yeah.
Man, dude, it was slow.
Yeah, like what we just told you was the only good parts of it.
Yeah, November 9th, morning and evening, in the same spot, that was the highlight, really.
Yeah, well, I mean, we've seen a lot of deer.
As far as action.
We've seen a ton of deer. Like, if you count up the number of deer you've seen, I think I was like 40-something. Mm-hmm. But just wasn't the deer, or the what we were looking for. I mean, we've seen
because we have
a ton of bucks, but just not. I mean, I don't know.
Because we have two buck tags.
Yeah.
So I mean, you're gonna pull a trigger on 150.
Yeah.
Even though Mr. Freeze is still out there running around.
Yeah.
So
I plan on.
It's not like you were just targeting Mr. Freeze, and that's the only one.
I was targeting him mostly, but like I said, if a 150 was there, I knew the stands that I didn't want to shoot a 150 out of, and that's why I didn't hunt them.
Yeah.
Until I thought it was good where Mr. Freeze could show up. But, I mean, Mr. Freeze was on – he's on all over the cams.
Yeah,
so, I mean, he
he's
could have
on the-
literally
he's on the whole
showed up.
property.
He could have literally showed up anywhere.
Yeah.
He covered the whole property in like an hour.
And
In the middle of the night.
in one of the episodes with Steve, Steve asked why we weren't hunting this buck, even though he showed up in a time that we never had him on cam before.
Because he's so nocturnal, man.
Yeah, he was very nocturnal, but all it takes is one thing for him to get up and, we're hunting him. We're hunting the place that he's at.
Yeah, we're hunting the edge.
Yeah.
But smartly, on the right wind, our access is... I want to get into that in Mr. Freeze.
Because on the 9th, nobody had been back that far.
No one's been back there. That was the first set on that stand since shotgun last year.
Right. So, November 10th, you're in Missouri. Grandpa got a doe. I hunted the buck nest. I can't remember what the wind was. I think it was good because I hunted there 4 times this year. One time, not a good wind. And then the other 3, I hunted a perfect wind. So I can't
on the
remember.
not a good wind day, what was it like?
I think it was the 10th, not a good day.
Yeah.
Because that's the day I had them 2 does come in, and I was worried. I was worried that they were going to bust me.
Yeah.
Didn't bust me, and I was in there sometime late October. Trail cam, pulled the card. Oh, no, it was the 3rd when I was there.
Yeah.
That was when we were having the baby. I go to put the memory card back in the cam, put it in backwards. I'm in a hurry to get out of there, so I was like, to hell with it. I just got to go. So I pulled the whole cam down, got my card out. On the 10th, the morning I went in there, I just dropped it on the ground, right at the tree that I had it on. These 2 does come in, perfect. They get up to the ridge, and they
Did
go.
they come from the field?
Yeah.
Oh, man, that's crazy.
So right the way I walk in, you know. But not on. I walk on like the secondary trail. They're on the primary
Yeah, the
trail.
main one that comes up the ridge.
The side my stands
and then
on.
goes north.
Yeah, so right there they cross. So they're getting ready to cross the ridge, and I'm like, well, that's over, hang my bow up. I'm going to get some good footage of them now. I can zoom in, focus, do everything. And then the one doe starts sniffing my trail cam. I'm like, oh, geez, here we go. So I was expecting blowing, all kinds of bad stuff. Nope, just kind of sniffed it, didn't really like it, just kind of bumped back a step or 2. And then instead of them going on the far side of the ridge back to the bedding to where I wouldn't be able to shoot them, they come on my side now. So if you just look at this, it's like a big X is where my trail cam is, and they come on the bottom right, and they went up to the middle, and then they come on the bottom left. So I get the camera over there, I pull back, and I shoot, and it looks like I shot over this deer's back, but I went back and looked at the footage, and I smoked a tree or a branch, deflected the arrow. I got down, looked at the arrow, or tried to look for the arrow, didn't find it, got back in the stand for a little bit, then I got down and really looked for it, found it, broadhead was gone, insert's gone, and my shaft was split for about 5 inches, just up in the tree. So no blood, no hair, no nothing. Totally missed the deer. And then I had a buck come from where the way the does were going before I got down and ended the hunt. A shooter buck come up right by the trail cam. I wish I would have had the trail cam up now, because I would have got a picture of him and seen what he really was. Definitely a shooter. And then he just went back the same way. Tried to grunt at him, nothing. When he started turning away, he wasn't looking at me.
This is the worst year for calling I've ever had. Rattling, grunting.
Yeah, like Steve said, don't call when they're looking at you. So when he was committed to going back where he come from, I hit a couple grunts, didn't even stop. So then Sunday, took it off. The 12th and the 13th, we had a baby appointment one day and a mommy appointment the other day. I had to be the driver because mommy couldn't drive. And then the 14th, I'm going to the buck nest, and so I've hunted there 3 times, the 3rd, the 10th, and the 14th. The 3rd, I told you I could just feel it going in. It's going to be a good hunt. I had them does. and that buck come in. And then on the 14th, I was walking in. I was like, man, it just feels good again, you know. I had the perfect southeast wind, and
Ton of southeast this year.
yeah, which
Crazy.
is perfect there. And I pull the card, get all set up. Had turkeys at like 4:45 last light, so I'm like, man, they're close, roosted. And then at like 5:13 that morning, I had a buck on cam. I'm like, it's a decent buck, you know. And that was really. I had a shooter 6-point.
Yeah.
Big giant 6
Was
point.
it sausage rolls?
No.
Shrunk down?
Nope. This
think
guy
so?
was sausage rolls was like actually like a 20-pointer, but
Yeah.
just had like 2 tines and then just a bunch of
Man
massies.
frame 6.
Yeah.
Just kick everywhere.
Right. So this is like a shooter 6, you know. And I'm sitting there, first light, turkeys back on the ridge where deer died. They come in, work through, and then had a 4-point or a spike. It wasn't a spike, so it must have been a 4-point. Come in behind me to the left, come in, and I'm trying to get the camera on him. I'm up there moving. He's got me pegged. And then he goes downwind, down through the draw behind me. Never alerted, never nothing, just was looking at me. And finally gets by me, got some footage of him. So I'm sitting there. That was all within the first hour or so. And then sitting there, I'm ready for an all-day sit. Packed the food in. You know, I'm ready to go. And because this is usually about the time that the rut down there is really good. So I was planning Wednesday, the 14th and 15th, sit all day at the buck nest. And about 8:30, just sitting there, and here comes a buck, and he's going to split off of the primary trail there, and he's going to work the secondary ridge to my right. And as soon as I seen him, I'm like, that's a solid buck. And he's working towards me, got his head down on just like a decent walk. He's not like marching. It's not like he's on a trail of a doe or anything. And I ranged this tree over there where my window is, and it's 24 yards. So I thought he was going to go behind the tree. So I bumped my sight to like 27 yards. And then he's just kind of milling around. Still can't really get a good look at what he is. And I just know it's a shooter, like I'm going to shoot it. So I thought he was going to go behind this tree. Comes back around, and this is totally on the back side of like where I had my camera set up, so I don't get any footage of this buck coming in. And I come to full draw, and after I messed up on them does, when I hit that branch, I was like, all right, you know, I just need to slow down on my shot, really sink it in, really settle the pin. So I full draw, settle in the pin, and he stops. And I'm not sure if it's between the time I was getting settled and the time I shot, but I sent it, and then as soon as I shot, I was like, that's back. Like, just, you know, 100%. It's farther back than what I want it to be. And his ass end was probably 8 foot in the air doing a mule kick. And I was like, wow. Which, you know, where I shot him, I was like, well, yeah, he's going to do that. So I was just thinking I could, like, see, you know, kind of where the arrow went into him. And it was like, you know, behind last rib. It was slightly quartering away, you know, when I'm in the stand, slightly quartering away. And I shot back. So I'm like, okay, maybe it snuck up in there and it's going to look decent. So I just sit there for 2 hours. I don't tell nobody. I just sit there, you know, kind of down on my shot placement, or, you know, not the shot placement, but where the shot ended up, and didn't do anything, man. Just replayed it over and over, and finally about 10:30, I got the group chat fired up and, you know, asked some questions. Like, Who asked? Well, is a gut shot going to kill a deer?
Yeah.
A guy who just probably shot a deer in the
Yeah.
gut. You know damn well. Like if you text me and you're hunting and I'm not, I'm gonna be like, oh yeah, it's dead. Just give it time.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're in the moment, you just want to hear from somebody else, you know. And they're like, yeah, it'll die, but you're not gonna have a very good blood trail probably, and
way better blood trail than we thought.
Yeah. So you called me, and you said, go check your arrow out, see what it looks like, and but don't track it, you know. I said, okay, I know right where I shot him. He went down the secondary ridge on the opposite side, not in the draw my scent's blowing, but on the opposite side of that. And then those two draws meet, and I was waiting for him to come out there. I can see up on top of the other.
I think since you were looking down there is why you missed him bed right there. Because you should have been able to see him bed right there.
I don't know.
You think he just hung out in that bottom?
I think he just hung out in that bottom.
There's no blood there, though, like where he stood.
Oh, no. I think he just went and bedded right away.
But you could see that from that stand. Because where I was standing, I could see your stance.
Could you?
He could see you get down.
Damn.
Crazy.
Yeah,
But I think he was looking up from where the leaves were. I think he was looking up the hill.
Up the hill.
Because that wind was kind of blowing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he could wind this way.
Right.
But he was looking up the hill to feel.
Oh, gotcha.
You know.
So in the 2 hours that the deer, that after I shot that I just sat there, deer's blowing 20, right after I...
That deer stayed there all day.
That deer stayed there all day. The one that's blowing stayed there all day.
Crazy.
So it was blowing when I got down to look at the arrow, and then after 2 hours or couple hours, still blowing.
Yeah.
And when we were down tracking, deer still blowing.
Yeah, same spot.
So, you know, I asked the guys, said, you know, what do you think about this deer blowing? Is it just this deer I shot, or is it another deer blowing at this dead deer? And they're like, oh, yeah, deer's down. By this point, I sent a picture of my arrow, and it looked like liver, real dark red. Got a pass-through. Thank you, BIP. And I could see blood, could see hair at the shot site, so I'm like, okay, you know, it's a lot better than what I was expecting from real-time analysis during my shot.
Without a pass-through, we got as far as we did, as quick as we did. Because that deer bled way too much for that shot. You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand what it was bleeding from.
I'm telling you, that
artery, maybe.
It had to be that artery.
Yeah, cut that artery and it's bleeding out. But then the blood dried up, too.
Yeah, we got 3/4 of the way down that creek draw.
Yeah, maybe not like distance, but like the route he ran, maybe like 50 yards.
Yeah.
And the blood's just...
It just...
Like, it's easy track for 50 yards.
Yeah, just walking. And then we're like, okay. So, getting back to after the shot, I back out, waited 7.5 hours. Cody gets off work. Luckily, he drives all the way down.
Let's state this, I was 40 miles further away than I'm normally at work.
So he's got almost 2-hour drive almost.
Yeah.
Come down to track a deer that I didn't really put a good shot on. So he shows up. I'm like, all right, you know, it's been 7.5 hours. We'll go in there and we'll get on something because now it's going to be dark. If we don't find him quick, it's going to be dark. Just like Cody said, he's good blood trail, 50 yards. Now we're down at the creek where I lost him, you know, and I didn't see him come out of here. There was one escape route he could have went, which would have been been a big circle from where he come from. So I'm like, you know, we don't see no rustled up leaves. We kind of circled back to the last spot of blood about 3 different times and didn't see any more blood.
We thought he went straight, and then we figured out we got like 2 more drops. And we're like, okay, he definitely went this way.
Yes.
You didn't see him go up the other side.
No.
So
because I could see the top 20 yards of that other side.
So we
of
know
the draw.
that he was in this creek, and that's what I was thinking. Okay, walk this creek down. Mm-hmm. But you go ahead.
But then I never seen him come out. So
Yeah.
I'm like, he could have just, you know, made a big circle back to where he come from before I even shot him. So we're about 25 yards apart, and you turned and looked at me, and you're like, "Did you smell that?" And I was like, "Yeah, like you could smell dead deer, you know." And I'm like, "Man, dude, we got to be close."
Yeah, I was like, "Oh, he's dead."
Yeah.
Because Homeboy, that's how I found Homeboy. I smelled him before I found him.
Yeah. So, and then you kind of jumped across the creek. I'm kind of looking after the last two drops.
Mm-hmm. I didn't tell Homey, but I kind of like seen some rusted up leaves where it looked like something climbed the hill sideways, but I didn't know. You said there was turkeys over there.
Yeah.
So I was like, shit, it's probably just turkeys crashed.
Right.
But I was like, I will follow it. And then I followed it up, and
you're like, hey, man, he's right here. And so I went up there, and dead deer, dead for probably at least 4 hours.
Yeah.
After we picked him up. So Veteran Broadhead bailed me out on this one. That's why I shoot that broadhead, man. That thing.
Yeah.
I'm not saying other broadheads wouldn't have done it, but I know this one did, and it made up for my ill-placed shot.
It reminds me a lot of shot that the one that the rival put on that velvet buck.
Yeah.
Way back like that, and then it went like 80 yards.
Right.
Kind of like that deer. I mean, the deer total trail-wise maybe went 80 yards and bedded.
Yep.
And I think that's what a lot of gut-shot deer do. Like, Homeboy, he ran until he died, but, I mean, he was still 150 yards. But
Is that gut shot or liver?
it was guts up into the lungs.
Okay.
So, yeah, he was quartered and hard. But, I mean, I feel like every back shot deer that I've been on, you find a bed within 100 yards. Where, like, okay, he was bedded here.
Even gut shot.
Yeah, and I think that people bump them, man.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, like I told Homie when I got there, if you would have told me you hit that deer where you hit it, I would have been in there tracking it.
Right.
I mean, it's just, I don't know. That's when it's back like that. I mean, it happens. I've hit does back there like that and then found them, and I've hit does like that and lost them. And then you're like, what in the heck did I do wrong? It's just, I don't know. It's archery.
Yep.
It's just hunting, not just archery. It's just hunting, and then archery adds another level to that. So,
get him dragged out, and
I got some sweet pics of the drag out too, but I have it down on my phone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got a good buck down in the buck nest, and that was that number one on my goal list over there.
Yep.
So did number one on my goal list. Pretty proud of that, and it was a good feeling, man.
Yeah.
Went full send.
Yeah, it was a good ending. When we lost the blood, like, people tell me all the time, I have no idea when to stop. Like, I just keep going. I just keep going and keep going. And I tell people, when you quit, you've already lost. As long as you don't quit, you haven't lost.
Yeah.
So, like, I got to that blood, and I'm like, I told Homie, I said, it's gonna be a long night, because I could just tell it's not,
It's not like
it's not like lung blood, or it's not like, I mean, you got to pass through, so you're expecting, okay, if I got up in the body cavity at all, even if I got liver, and I got to pass through, this thing should be bleeding a lot, When we got down that hill, I was like, okay, I've had it where they don't bleed real good going downhill, but when you go back up, it's good. And then I scanned that hillside. What was hilarious is I was 40 yards from that deer.
Yeah. We
for
were
a couple minutes,
Well, even on the other side, we should have been able to see him.
The other side, I'm like dead eye level with him.
Right.
But he just bedded by that log, and he literally just got right up on top of a log.
And I think first he was bedded up
I think
on the
he was
hill.
bedded there and then tried to get up.
Yeah.
And then
It was done.
He was done.
It felt good to shoot a buck and be able to walk to him after my whole ordeal last year with Ghost, shooting him, missing him, tracking him, didn't have much to track on that. And then, now on this one, not the best shot in the world, but lethal.
Yeah.
And just nice to be able to get on blood and pretty much walk right to him,
I mean, we tracked him I'm a slow tracker. People tell me that. But 40 minutes, 30 minutes.
Yeah, I would say 30.
I mean, it's like, I was like, oh, he's right here.
If we didn't have to circle back to the blood,
Yeah.
That last spot 3 times,
Yeah.
and then we found the other 2 after that,
Yeah.
I mean, it would have been 15, 20 minutes on a 100-yard, 80-yard track,
Yeah.
So that just felt really good to
It
get
really
it
helped
done.
us that the timber was open there, too.
Yeah.
That helped out a lot. So, yeah, I was proud when we found the deer. I was like, okay, this could have ended a lot worse because I've been there, know. And then, I don't like to say people like earned a buck or something. I don't think you can do that. But I mean, we worked hard. You worked hard for that deer, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, you put in a lot of work. We went there and prepped. You hung stands this year. We hung a double set there. I mean, the amount of drive time that you have in that deer. I mean, it's like you've got like a minute every inch in one trip. You know what I mean?
Right.
That you drove,
Yep.
So, I mean, it's an awesome buck that, like you said, a lot of drama going on that piece right now. Chance to lose it.
Drama that night.
Yeah, drama that night. So, I mean, I don't know. I think it's an awesome buck, awesome memory. Another bow kill down. Another one. The first one you got to show Aiden.
Yeah.
Super
yeah,
cool.
I was really jacked up about that. And, last year I shot that doe with my bow, and he wasn't really, he didn't know what to think, which, I mean, he's only a year and a half. And first dead deer and first deer he's seen without antlers in person. So I don't know if he really knew, like, what was going on. But this year, man, dude, he was all about it.
He was all about it.
Yep.
That video is hilarious. It's
Right.
awesome. So
he was pumped up, man.
And we do have enough film to create a story for you guys to be able to live this hunt with us. That's one thing we're going to do this year through our videos. It's not going to be just your normal everyday video. You're going to be walking through the lives of just some average hunters and not just us walking to the stand. I mean,
Right.
We're going to tell a story. That's what our main goal is. This is what it's really like, man. I mean, and then just to get it done, I mean, there's a lot of people that are hardcore out there, but I mean, 120 plus hours by that time. I mean, I don't think there's not a lot of guys out there that are doing that.
And, I mean, we're working 50, 60 hours a week.
Yeah. Or
So-
100 this week.
Yeah. 103 days.
Yeah.
So get to close a chapter on that and, cross off the number one goal on my list this year. So get a bump them up. And, one thing you have on your goal list for this year was to soak it in. And with waiting all day and, you're uneasy about it and you're debating back and forth and you're replaying the shot over and over again, I didn't really get to soak it in, because then we found him. We're like, well, we got to get him out of here before it gets dark.
That's how it always is, man.
Then,
remember I was telling you, like, when you get the buck, then you're like, okay, got him. Let's get him out. You know what I mean?
Then it's just 100 mile an hour from that point on.
Homey's drag job was pretty rough, but it wasn't near as bad as mine.
No,
so.
yeah, you kicked ass on that drag, that's for sure.
But I got the doe too, so I'm even now.
Got the doe.
Your doe.
Yeah.
So that's even. That's an even flush.
All right.
Even Stevens, man.
Right.
Two deer for one. I mean, that's a pretty good deal.
So yeah, we're just 100 mile an hour, and the only time I really got to soak it in, which I wanted to do, but I mean, there's stuff you have to do. You have to get it tagged. You have to get it out of the woods. You have to get it gutted. You have to do this. You have to do that. The only time I really got to soak it in was when I was home with Aiden, which I mean was perfect. And I was glad he really enjoyed that, and really solidified my purpose for shooting that deer. And then I called the locker like, hey, got a buck. Want to bring it to you, they're going to cape it. He's like, well, I'd like to have it hot. I was like, oh, well, here we go again, 100 mile an hour again. So, of course, when you shoot a deer and you live out of your truck, on a 2-week rutcation, then you shoot a deer, your truck is just obliterated.
Dude, my truck is still obliterated.
I don't have,
insane.
I got all my stuff out of my truck right now.
Where I took my clothes off after I shot Mr. Freeze are
Right.
still in the same corner. They have not moved.
So I took Thursday off.
Yeah.
So I got up that morning of the 15th. I'm feeling good. Got a buck down, made some breakfast, Did a little house cleaning, got everything ready for shotgun, and the wife's like, well, hell, you should shoot some deer a little more often. I kind of like this.
Yeah. It feels good to get it done. I mean, and not just the amount of work. And once you, like, get a buck on the ground, I know it's bad. Like, it's not that, like, your season would have been worse if you didn't, but you reached a goal. So then you're like, all right, okay, I'm cool with this being my season. I'm going to chill back. And I said I wasn't going to do that this year, but, I mean, I'm pretty chill right now. Like, I'm going to hunt.
Yeah.
And I got some ideas that I want to do. Like, I wish we could go tonight, dude, because I got this spot on public. We'd see 30 deer tonight. I guarantee it. Like, this conditions, and we probably see like 60 turkeys, too.
Oh, yeah.
They just be feeding out there hardcore. I mean, you get 13 inches of snow down. The beans are covered. I mean, almost. But if you got standing corn, and I know where there's about an acre, I don't know, it's an acre on a 5-acre field, and then about 15 acres on a 100-acre field that's standing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, with 1,000 acres of timber right there, all them deer headed right there, man. And that thing's going to be...
Yeah, I
and
know.
this is just like, I told you, this is when that public gets good, because everybody's like, I'm not tracking in that 13 inches of snow to get in my stand. And this is it. And it's straight west tonight, too, which is like primo. I think about it all day. I'm like, dude, I know the tree that I'd be in. I know the exact tree I'd be in. So, we need to get the lone wolf out of that double stand.
Right.
Because we're not hunting doubles back there unless it's shotgun and I'm filming you. Or bow season, I'm filming you. But I could just kick it back in there and hang it.
I wish that tree was about 8 inches less diameter.
The camera arm literally fits like...
An inch and a half of strap
inch
left.
Strap,
After you ratchet it and tighten it up.
Yeah.
You got an inch and a half left.
It's just brutal.
Oh.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Yeah.
So now that I have time to, sit back, think about my buck, getting it done, I think I would have regretted passing that deer.
Yeah.
I mean, I think normally I would have, but for some reason that morning I was just like, I'm going to shoot this deer, a solid buck. I'm going to shoot him. And right now I'm happy I did, man.
Yeah.
Little confidence booster, get a buck down, go
another shot. Not like I said, I tell you this all the time. You're still newer to bow hunting. You know what I mean? You've been hunting for a long time, but you're newer to bow hunting. And for killing bucks wise, just like me, we're still newer for bow hunting. You know what I mean? I think if you get like 10 down, I mean, that 11th one's got to be like, okay, I've done this 10 times.
Mm-hmm.
I know what I'm doing. I feel comfortable, but I mean, I don't know if it's ever going to get easier, but I feel like you're just going to feel more confident when you're like, all right, I know this is it,
Yeah.
But right now, when it, like, even when a buck was coming in that, like, I thought was on the edge, I'm just like, I just get so jacked, man. Mm-hmm. That's why my bow, like, I put solid shots on stuff, but I don't know. It must just be instinct because I shoot my bow so much that, like, if anything could happen, just like that buck I lost, I mean, it put a terrible shot on it. So, but I get super jacked. This year was like even worse because there's so much downtime in stand. When you seen a deer, you're like, oh man, there's a deer.
Right.
Like you're imagining deer, and then when you're like, oh man, that's a deer. That's a real life deer, man. I've been sitting here for 9 hours, ain't seen anything, And stands that are just like the last 4 years have been fall proof, money. Every person that's ever hunted that piece is like, oh, this is a stand to be in, I seen 10 bucks there, I seen 8 bucks there, and then we sat there this year and it's just like nothing. But I got some intel that might have been, I think the neighbor to the north was hunting that north piece.
Oh, yeah?
He told me that he was hunting it a little bit. And I know if he was hunting it, and we had a southeast, or we had a north, which we had a lot of during the rut, whole property's wiped. A northwest, he's got some potential, but we got nothing up there.
Yeah.
And that would make sense why nothing went through there. Where there was no one there, there could possibly have been someone there.
Right.
So I think that could, and then even just walking in there, when there's no one walking in there, and okay, he's walking in there now. And with your neighbors, you never know how they hunt. And really, I mean, that property's skinny and long. He's 300 yards away, maybe.
Yeah, just down through it all.
Just down through it, So, I mean, 300 yards, a buck's going to win you, So, I think the deer that normally come up out of that draw, like I was talking about, how, like, the last 2 bucks did, they come up and then they work down. Nothing came out of that timber this year. Not one deer. That north stand was the worst stand we have.
Yeah, the hot seat was
It's the
literally
worst
the
stand
worst
we got.
stand. Yeah, a lot of time wasted.
We still got a stand we haven't set in yet.
Yeah, yeah.
That's when you hang a lot of stands on a small piece. We have this year. It's a really small piece, and we didn't access 10 acres of it.
Yeah.
So we didn't access half the property.
And I mean, we've had good hunts, and we didn't mess up a giant.
Yeah, and we didn't mess up a giant. So access, bro. I want to cover that on Mr. Free's podcast because we were right there multiple times where that deer was on trail cam.
Hours.
Right there.
Hours.
Yeah. Kit hunting him.
Yes.
Hunting the G2 buck.
Mm-hmm.
And didn't mess him up. And the wind, I mean, like the wind there, remember, it was just like on that real windy day when I hunted, it was just swirling. I'm like, man, I shouldn't even be here. But I feel like I'm good because this draw. And like I said, we did not have one deer come from back there.
No.
They do not like that open timber, man.
Even that fork that come out when we were hunting, he looked.
He went and fed down there.
Yeah, he looked that way. Like he wanted to go there, but he ended up not.
He went and fed on some acorns and then was like, I want to cruise this way.
Yeah.
So
just to recap this episode, one thing I learned, this is the first deer I've had to, like, wait on and, like, wait it out, would have been no doubt a no-brainer to wait overnight if it was an evening hunt. And then, if we went and looked for blood and we, at the 50-yard mark, if we didn't find him, would have went back the next day, and I said I was going to hunt, all day sit again, and, I would have had to break it up, and then I would have looked for him after the morning hunt, and probably not hunted there in the evening, but I would have looked the next day if we hadn't found him. So when you guys shoot a deer, man, and you don't see him go down, or you're not 100% sure, just got to wait. That deer's going to bed down, and it's not going to go anywhere. If it dies, it's going to be just as dead in 12 hours when you come back, or however many hours. And get online, Google it. Trust me, because I was like an idiot. How long do you wait on a liver shot? How long do you wait on a gut shot? How long on a paunch shot?
Yeah.
So, just get on there and get them times in your head and know it, and
just think about. So you're sitting there in the truck, right? Mm-hmm. Think about all the hours that led up to that deer, right? So 100 and so.
Yeah.
Okay. Now you got to wait 5 hours in the truck.
Yeah.
And then you're successful, or you wait no hours and you just wasted 100 hours.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's the way I look at it. Like, every deer I've shot with a bow, the buck I shot with a shotgun, I waited. I mean, I seen it go down. My last bow kill, I seen it go down. The Big 10, the 430 buck, seen it go down. Homeboy did not see it go down. The 8, the big tall 8 that with the shotgun a few years ago, didn't see it go down. I wait on all of them. Like, I just like you do. It's cool just to sit in the stand and just, all right, I did it. Okay, let's just chill. Let's think about this. Where was my shot? Where was the buck at? Let's get this right before I get down. Let's really get an idea where, where was the angle? Because that's stuff that when you get down, then you're like, okay, I got no blood. Now I really need to think about this.
Yeah, because my buck was quartering way more than what we thought.
Yeah. And
after we get down and look back at the stand, we're like, okay, he was quartering way more than we thought.
Yeah. So that's the things I do, you've been patient enough to wait to kill this deer.
Right.
And now you just have to be patient enough to, if you put a subpar shot, to let the deer do its thing, bed up. And, I mean, if you send an arrow through a deer, unless it's high and you miss everything or super low, it's a dead deer.
Right.
If you send it through the guts, it's a dead deer. If you send it through one lung, people say they can live, but if you get one lung with a pass-through, I don't know, man.
Yeah, I would think it'd be dead.
Yeah, I don't
That'd
know.
That'd be a one
shoulder shot, not going to die. Unless you're
No.
shooting a high pass-through rated, like a veteran or a heavy fixed blade or something, you can blow through that shoulder. If you're shooting like a rear deploying mechanical,
No.
the deer's living.
Yeah, it ain't gonna get enough penetration.
It's not gonna get enough, and especially on a big deer. Like a doe, you might be able to blow through a shoulder, but I mean, if you can blow through a cow femur bone
5 times,
you can blow through anything.
Yeah.
I mean, so. But yeah, it's a successful hunt. Successful because you got a deer, and because we learned so much. I learned a lot tracking that deer. Like I learned a lot. Okay, this is where the shot was. We really inspected that when we got there. Let's really see.
Yeah.
And then we were like, okay. And we got inside, seen what it hit. Okay. So this deer died that long. And then I was like, dude, if you would have tracked 10 foot of blood, he'd have been gone.
Yeah.
Like if you literally would have tracked 10, if you would have went to where you couldn't see him anymore and went 10 foot, gone. Probably never have found him.
Because he was bedded on that hill,
Yeah.
probably perched, looking back right where he
Yeah.
come from at what just hit him, just waiting for something else, and then he would have been gone.
Yeah, he'd been gone forever. So you did the right thing, waiting. I stressed. I was like, dude, just find your arrow and go, just back out and just wait.
Yeah.
So
that brings us up to the 16th. So opening day of shotgun, you want to run through that real quick because then next week will be on the 17th when something happens.
16th, I get to the stand. I'm trying to hang the dang camera arm. And it's,
that's your first time in that tree?
Oh, boy, brutal. So
In the dark.
And before shooting light, giant deer comes through. I can just see tines that I think are big. I can't, it's too dark,
Right.
Because when you go that far in and you're that close to a feed field, when you're 100 yards from a feed field, I feel like you got to be in there early.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I would have been in there then, that deer would have bumped and could have busted everything off the field,
Which, to get back there, you walked all the way through the timber.
Yeah.
You didn't walk on the field edge or anything.
I went through a timber, across a ravine, down past a creek. It's a long ways back there. It's 400 yards deep, 300, 350.
Yeah.
It's deep.
Now that we moved it, yeah.
It's deep in there. So I get there, the dang ratchet strap just barely fits, and I get it, and I'm like, okay, I got it. And then here comes this giant deer. I know it's a buck. It's way before shooting light, probably 15 minutes. And I look through the scope anyways. Like, I just want to see what deer this is. And I can't tell. It's at like 50 yards, too. I'm like, man. 10, 15 more minutes would have been closer. I could have really, seen what it was. Just get eyes on Mr. Freeze, And then I get everything set up, and I finally got the tree arm on, and I ratchet strap my 4th arrow tool underneath the bottom of the base, and you can't pull it out once it's in there. So
Especially as tough as it is to get the damn
so I'm
strap
like,
on that tree
I'm not
anyway.
unstrapping this thing because it took me 30 minutes to get this son of a gun. So I'm just like, I'm gonna rip the tool off. So I rip the tool off. I get it kind of level in the dark, and I'm like, I'll finish it when it gets a little lighter, Drop my 4th arrow tool on the ground. I'm like, oh, sweet.
Oh.
So I'm like, do I climb down and get it, or do I just send it? So I'm like, I'm going to climb down and get it. So I climb down and get it. That step, bro, that first step on that stand is like, it's bad. It sounds like my truck door.
Oh,
it's, And I'm like, okay, I'm not seeing anything. Get up there, level the camera arm. 10 minutes later, giant buck. High 150s, 160s. Just boom, out of nowhere. In that thick stuff, same spot your bucks are. And I get one good look at him. I'm like, okay, shooter. I stand up. He's walking away. I grunt at him. Nothing. I'm like, okay, he's walking away. I got a good idea. I got a good look at his frame. I'm like, okay, that's definitely a shooter. Sat there, see 7 does, no more bucks. And I'm like, we set all day?
No, we went and got lunch.
Oh, yeah. We went and got lunch. And then where did I set that eating? Go, I went back there. We both went
back there, yeah.
We both went back there. I'm like, I seen a shooter here today. We both went back there, and we seen no deer.
We kicked up to about 50 yards behind the stand.
At like 1 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And we seen nothing the whole evening. And we're right by a feed field, which is like, what the hell? So I went to a stand the next day after seeing no deer from 1 o'clock on.
Yep.
And I was like, I'm going back there because I know this is where I need to be. And magic happens.
So my opening day shotgun, I set in the north corner, which we determined that is the coldest stand we have this year for deer activity.
$2 shot of that stand.
Last 2 years? No.
3.
2 out of 3.
2 out of 3, yeah.
Yeah, 2 out of 3.
This year's just
shot 140s.
Yeah.
This year, I haven't even seen 140s out of it.
Nope.
And then I hunted the honey set that night and didn't see a deer at all. Didn't see one deer opening day on the whole piece. So
and then the next day it's just like light switch.
Yeah, deer
Crazy.
everywhere. So that is right up to where we're gonna leave this one off and pick it up here next week with the podcast of Mr. Freeze, which I'm sure everybody is anticipating coming out.
Just so you guys know, Mr. Freeze, we were going to podcast a couple days ago, and we got 13 inches of snow. So the name is so fitting right now that the Mr. Freeze from Batman just came and just froze us out, so we couldn't tell the story of Mr. Freeze.
Right. So this deer's dead and still got a curse on us.
Yeah, and I'm Jack to tell you guys the story.
So
hope you guys enjoyed our rut catch-up. And
how about recap? Ketchup just sounded like you're talking about legit ketchup there.
Yeah. Okay, rut recap.
There you go.
Homey's Boko. We're going to come at you next week with the story of Mr. Freeze. Finally, I know you guys are probably ready to hear it. So.
Yep. Sorry it wasn't this one.
Yeah. we gotta keep them in order. All right. Go out there and hunt. I know it's cold, but you're going to have some fun. You're going to make some memories. And Whitetail Legacy is out.